So I used to think that the idea of spectrum management would be very boring and dry, but as we've found lately, we've had DDT, secondhand smoke, global climate change, and now we have LightSquared. The MSS band, this is a GPS antenna response. You see there, the MSS band is very close to the GPS L1 frequency. You turn on your GPS receiver and it works every time. The MSS band has been used by LightSquared and the predecessor companies that became LightSquared to broadcast what you know as SBAS, or maybe you have WAS on your handheld GPS receiver. And they listen to it by design. In 2008, this man, Philip Falcone, a multi-billionaire hedge fund manager, bought what became LightSquared. As you can see, there are many asterisks in this talk, and look closely at the bottom of the screen. In the summer of 2010, the FCC allowed LightSquared, or announced plans to increase spectrum use for wireless broadband, and LightSquared proposed to augment Sprint's tower network. On January 25th, our president, who has an asterisk at the bottom of the screen, proposed to make broadband internet available to everybody, everywhere. The following day, the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission gave LightSquared permission to do just that, only because some people were paying attention, it was made conditional that it not interfere with GPS. The value of LightSquared spectrum went from $500 million to $9 billion overnight. So the situation before LightSquared, in the faint middle there you see the GPS spectrum, and all of a sudden right in our neighborhood, right next door, huge powerful emissions coming from the towers. A GPS industry lobbying coalition was formed that consisted of all manufacturers except one, who, as we know from the history, has been a bit of a wild card. Tests were conducted by technical working group and government groups, and there were many advisors were added to add legitimacy, and I was one of those advisors. In July, test results, and I've blurred them so that you can't see them because they're very ugly, were released to the public. It was obvious what was going on. The FAA said, we will have planes fall out of the sky. The next thing that happened was congressional hearings were called with many members of our community, and the USGS represented us at that hearing. David Applegate swore an oath to state the following long statement, discussing the effect of LightSquared on PBO and monitoring and hazards, and at the bottom testified under oath that UNAVCO has experts and that we know what we're doing. So when the perjury police knocks on his door, we will have our apologies to him. Hundreds of billions of dollars were at risk, and the next thing that happened was billboards and bus stops were wired with propaganda. This is a Boulder newspaper. LightSquared accused GPS receiver manufacturers of being at fault. When I find myself agreeing with Michelle Bachmann, I know the world is coming to an end. LightSquared became the hot button issue on Republican and Fox News websites. So in the fall of 2011, further tests were ordered, and over the fall they were conducted. And in January, the National Position and Timing Office told the NTIA that it wasn't going to work. So on Valentine's Day, exactly 1 hour after I gave the title of this talk, Lights Out for LightSquared, the FCC announced that it was indeed Lights Out for LightSquared. But it's not over yet. There's still a public comment period, and here are two examples of comments you can file. A nice formal letterhead, blah, 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 signed by us, or you can be like Michael Beavis, eminent scholar, and accuse them of financial vandalism. So, in conclusion, spectrum management is not boring, and you have 24 hours to go to fcc.gov and make your voices heard. And over the next 10 years, we'll be planning for the next iteration of LightSquared.
Yeah.